Whether it's frustrating or useful, or simply a beautiful object to impress our friends with, we continue to embrace new technology ever closer. The economic imperative tends to drive innovation forward. The cutting edge of technology is constantly changing, and the possibilities are extraordinary. We get very emotionally attached to our gadgets, but is there a future where we get physically attached to them as well, to the point where we might want to upgrade ourselves? Is there a future where technology is not just at our fingertips, but in our fingertips? Maybe that's the next frontier. In the last decade, what was once science fiction has become science fact. Computer chips have been implanted in the cochlea to restore hearing to deaf children. Researchers are working on chips attached to the retina to restore sight loss. Here at Cambridge University's Institute of Biotechnology, they're developing sensors to be implanted inside the body to give doctors real-time information about proteins and molecules inside the bloodstream. Your first work in this field was with chips, wasn't it?
That's quite correct, yes.
And are these the kind of chips that you were working with?
These are exactly the chips that we developed a few years ago, yes.
So this chip would be, what, implanted into the body?
This particular chip is exactly that. We designed this to monitor glucose and to be implanted within the body. And you can see it's a relatively small-sized chip, and it would be implanted either in a location like here or perhaps around the midriff. The problem with this technology is it's actually quite expensive, and that's more or less why we stopped it, to see whether we could find cheaper alternatives which would allow us to monitor glucose and other metabolites in the body and with a much simpler system.
The scientists are developing two types of sensor, one using light and one using sound. The light device is a hologram, produced by lasers that fire onto specially developed polymers. The hologram changes colour in response to changes in the blood chemistry. With acoustics, a radio signal is sent to the tiny transparent sensor, which then sends back the blood information. That just looks to me like a contact lens or something.
Yeah, it is actually a quartz disc made out of silica.
And that goes under someone's skin?
Correct, yeah.
And transmits information about what?
One of the major applications of this is to monitor glucose in blood of diabetics in real time. If we can do that and control the blood glucose far more precisely than you would if you were, say, pricking your finger, say, 5 or so times a day, then I think what you'd have is the ability to control the diabetes far better, and you would not suffer a lot of the consequences of diabetes, like blindness, for example, also problems with the kidney.
For now, this sensor technology remains experimental. In the future, the hope is it will improve diagnosis and treatment for conditions such as stress, schizophrenia, and multiple sclerosis. The sensors could help patients better manage their symptoms. Would you describe this kind of technology as sort of an upgrade to the human body?
In the sense that you're not going to suffer from all the side reactions that you would normally. I mean, of course, it's an upgrade, but there are other applications of that. For example, we've been looking at some of the sports applications, bearing in mind we have the Olympics in 2012, and that the elite athletes are interested in monitoring their glucose levels and their lactate levels, because this determines their performance. And if you could monitor that and have some control over that during training, I think you could upgrade their performance then.
Does that move then to, being able to measure somebody's state of mind?
In terms of measuring their state of mind, it depends on, can we find something to measure which would be an indicator of their state of mind? And if the answer is yes to that we could find a measure of that, some sort of chemical measure of it, then we could in theory do the same thing. But this is a long way into the future, of course.
Technology plays a central role in our imaginations. But just how close do we want our relationship to become? We've placed our faith in these bewildering, ingenious objects to the point where we'd be lost and angry without them. I've got my gadgets though, and after decades of upgrading, they seem perfect to me.